Hey buddies, we're going to paint Meryl Starling from CMON Cthulhu Death May Die. So let's get on it. We're going to start off with the flesh shade from flesh tone from MOMIC. So we're going to do the face first and all the flesh parts. So as you can see, we have primed this in black. So we have to do this layer first because we need to really sink in the color and let this flesh color beat the black primer. And since the flesh color is the most inner layer of the miniature, we would prefer to I would prefer to actually color it in first. At this stage we are doing the base color for Meryl. Meryl is an old woman, by the way. She's this old lady character that was once the darling of Broadway and now moved to Hollywood and starring in multiple roles. Then as she aged, she improved her craft through various means, the most effective of which she calls the method. So the character here, she is quite wealthy in Cthulhu, and if any of the players were to have her around, especially if you're playing Call of Cthulhu RPG and as a wealthy character, possibly with a car, you might be able to actually travel around Arkham, Massachusetts, a Lovecraft country without much hindrance or paying cab fare and being extorted a hefty sum. So anyway, let's get back to painting. So here I'm done with the flesh tone. It's a bit uneven at the moment, so we're going to give it a second layer later on. Yep. Now we are going to go with dark Prussian blue from Vallejo or Vallejo in Spanish, I think. So we're gonna go with the blue. We're gonna go all messy here. We're just gonna go and base layer all these things, all this clothing. Okay. If you have seen the introduction picture of this video, you would have seen the color scheme Meryl Starling. We're gonna go with the blue robe with a red long dress and a white shirt. With that color scheme in mind, we're gonna go with blue. What I'm doing here is I'm just painting the easiest at the moment. Although the red and the whites are the innermost portion, give it a sense of uh, because I didn't do the genital priming before this, so it's hard for me to see where is what. So we're gonna go and finish up this blue. Okay, now we're gonna start off. The blue is done, so we're gonna go with hull rate now. Uh, it's a bit the red hull rate is a bit brownish from the. It's a, it's a very dark red, almost closer to brown. Mainly used for. Uh, oops, I think I need to shake the bottle a bit longer. Yeah, so hull rate is mostly used the in warships, battleships. So I use this to paint my World War II uh, victory at sea ships. Anything that requires hull rate. So yep. So I am now I already painted the hull weight beforehand, actually, before capturing this. So yep. So there you go. All the base colors are done. Hull weight, white at the inner shirt, and you're gonna go and touch up a bit more, making it more smooth. And that portion there, the chest area, uh, at this moment there isn't a need to be neat or tidy. Just go over where you need to, where the color needs to be. Okay, so we have already let the first layers of paint dry. The main scheme of the paints are already dry now. We're going to go over now to touch up some of the areas which is not smooth, namely the flesh tones, and also we can go on now and do up the hair with gray. Okay, so the Meryl is an old lady, mostly white hair, but at this scale we will paint it a light gray instead of white, and then we're going to give it a subtle wash later end of the at the end of the process, and then we're going to give a slight hints of white at certain highlighted areas. Okay, so we're going to carry on painting this gray and be right back. Okay, now we can start with some rough highlighted areas. So we're going to start off with the blue first. So we have added in a bit of sky blue, mixed in with the dark Prussian blue. We're gonna mix it 50-50, 3/4, 25%, 75%, so we get a smooth blend within the colors. Okay, and then after that we're just gonna roughly pick out all the highlighted area. The transitioning at this point is roughly done, but we're not going to really focus on a smooth transition at the moment. There are other places there are other portions of the miniature that we need to settle first. So that's what we call final detailing. But for this, at the moment, we're just going to do rough highlighted areas. Okay, now we're going to go on and clean up all the edges and all the edges, and making sure the color doesn't overlap at the wrong area. This is really obvious with the whites and the blues. So we're going to make a smooth line and smoothen the colors also at the same time, especially the whites and the uh, flesh color. Very difficult colors to work with. Okay, now all the edges are done, smooth and crispy. We're going to proceed on with mm, darkening the whites. Let's go with darkening the whites. Okay, so we're going to use contrast paint, apothecary white, and we're going to take a small dab onto the chest area, the inner shirt, the white inner shirt. Okay, why not non-oil? Non-oil is too dark. It's meant for shading grays. Apothecary white is contrast paint, but it works like a wash, and it really has this subtle darkening to the whites. without being too obvious. And it looks dark now, but once it dries up, it's gonna dry up nicely, and it's gonna be lighter. Gonna remove the excesses and just gonna pull away the collected areas, the one that collected more of the apothecary white. Now we're gonna do the sleeves. Okay, next we're gonna wash the face with Reclin Flash Shade. Okay, Reclin Flash Shade is a red wash. It's a red shade meant for flesh colored tones. And we're gonna do a bit of washing here. Not too much. We're gonna give it a subtle wash. Gonna pull away all the resource. It's gonna pull at the recesses. I'm gonna take any amount of excessive pulling into the other areas. Okay, do it subtly on the face and then on the hands too. And once we are done, we're going to move on to the next stage. Okay, now we're going to do the rough highlights for the uh, long dress, the red long dress. Okay, we added in bright orange, mix it in 50-50 to with hull red to get a lighter shade, and then gonna mix in more to when we approach the higher points. Okay, and at this moment we can start being meticulous with the transitioning. Okay, so detailing is roughly to me one of the most fun part because the paints are already there, all the base layers are already there. The model is, I dare say, painted, but not to the required standard. We are seeing colors, so now we're just adding in more colors to it. So as we do the highlighting and the transitioning, gonna complete this and gonna get back to you later on. Okay, now we are done with the rough highlighting and painting the high points with a lighter color, with a lighter shade. So now it's more of further cleanup and refining all those blended areas. So when we mean by refining, it's more of darkening back all the mistakes that were done, especially on the areas that were not supposed to be lighted or highlighted. Now we going on to the refinements and the blending for the blues, right? So the rough highlighted areas that we did there, it wasn't really showing now. So we're gonna further enhance it with sky blue, more of the sky blue now. Yep, more sky blue, especially at the race areas. And Now we are going to finish it up with further refinements to the transition of the highlighted areas and blending from the lighter color to the darker colors, and touching up all the areas with especially the handgun and the torchlight. Gonna touch up the area. Okay, so at the moment this is what the miniature looks like, and we'll continue. Now I'm going to add noon oil to the hair. The noon oil, I'm going to just take a slight dip into the jar and into the paint pot, and use the capillary action to actually do pin washing. We call this pin washing, and then on the recesses, on the excess areas, we're going to just pull it away to the areas that did not get the non-oil treatment. We are not going to really wash it so much. We're going to give it a hint of the dark areas, because I think actually there's not very much black hair left on Meryl, so it's mostly grays and whites. Okay, so um, touching up again on the areas, making it look more neat and more subtle, the transition. Okay, up close you are going to see this as very contrasting, the transitioning, but when you zoom out, uh, looking at it via the naked eye is going to look quite amazing, quite smooth. Okay, so there you have it. I think I'm gonna call this miniature done. Thank you for watching, everyone, and happy painting as always.